Let's get this. Live videos. Is this the 8th officially? Son of a bitch. Forget about What is a Woman. New book arrivals number 279. And once I get this going, control copy. Yes, new book arrivals number 279, and we have all glass with some pumpkin beer. Trying to use up my old stock of pumpkin beer from last year. Stuff's kind of sour. That's the one thing that holds it back, but it's also pretty good. It's got good flavor. It's just got a sourness. 279, and we shall add new book arrivals. I really need to start putting all the titles in the caption, but I don't give a shit, honestly. Just have way too many books. We are in book room number 2, bruv. Let's do this. Turn off the thing. When Ghosts Speak. Understanding the World of Earthbound Spirits by Mary Ann Winkowski. I may actually have this book, but I don't think I do. Let me look on Libib. I don't know. I don't give a shit if I have it or not. When Ghosts Speak. Let's see what it says. Mary Ann Winkowski is the mother of 2. She lives in an Ohio suburb where she goes to church every Sunday, and she sees and talks to ghosts. All right, that's all I need to know. This book, Odes to Being Alive, Get Me Through the Next 5 Minutes by James Parker. I've had this book before and sold it, and both copies I had for some reason were advance uncorrected proofs, so I'm not sure what that's about. Is this dog hard to find, I mean? Anyway, both times I found this book, it has been an advanced reading copy. What's up, Pop Pop? And I plan to sell this copy too, if I can get $10 for it again. I don't know why I keep finding it in that form. Against the Grain, A Deep History of the Earliest States. And I'm guessing this is the United States, but I guess I didn't really look at it. Yeah, it could have been States of Consciousness. This landmark book explores the transition of each hunting and gathering societies. No, it isn't. This is not the United States. This is just history and archaeology. Right, well, that's even more interesting. What do you got, Pop Pop? Nothing? Oh, we lost 5 viewers already. Hey, I'm Pop Pop. Let's see what Pop Pop's about. What do you got, bruv? The challenge. What's your challenge? Deep History of the Earliest States. All right, on my watch, from police cadet to police chief, and this is just the Detroit police guy. I had a couple uncles that were Detroit police. So, plus I collect Michigan books, so, and this one's signed. So, I'll put this in my collection. And maybe I'll need it. Maybe he mentions my uncle. I doubt it, but you never know. You could have known my uncle. My uncle's dead now, so it's possible he knew it. Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. Or Mellors. Keep up what? My championship level? That's fucking ingrained in my soul, sir. I could never not be amazing. This book is apparently a hot read, but I just found some German chick who I follow. I think she's German. Maybe she's not. She raged about this book and said it was shit. I don't really care. I'm going to sell it, but that's the reason why I bought it, because it was worth $10 minimum. I only paid 50 cents, which will pay for my whole pile of books. So yeah, what's it say? 24-year-old British painter Cleo has escaped from England to New York and is still finding her place in the sleepless city when a few months before her student visa ends, she meets Frank. Is that Frankenstein? Frank is 20 years older and a self-made success, and his life is full of all the excesses Cleo's lacks. He offers her the chance to be happy, the freedom to paint, and the opportunity to apply for a green card. But their impulsive marriage changes their lives and the lives of those around him. This sounds awful. Thought I bought 2 books. Light of the Night, the last 18 months in the life of Therese of Lisieux. And to my way of thinking, as I've stated umpteen times, these apparitions of Mary things are some of the most paranormal stories there are. So, I mean, I don't know why people discount them as not paranormal. Well, someone sees a fucking ghost of some jerk off from nowhere. Oh, who's this? Marion Mulligan. I thought I was going to say Marion Malik. I was going to say, holy shit. Marion Mulligan saw you getting tired. God saw you getting tired. And a cure was not to be. Hello, Bobs. Whoever's giving me the hurts. Hello, Bobs. Gond, the Hunter by Don Goppel-Muker G. This is an ex-library book, but it's pretty cool. I will probably sell this book just because it's worth some money. I don't know what the hell. I don't really care about the jungle, which is, I think, what it's about. Yeah, the jungle. The edge of the jungle. And the story tells beautifully how an old Hindu priest teaches Gond the habits and life of the wild animals, which sounds about as interesting as hitting myself with a frying pan. But it's a cool old hardcover, and I could probably get $10-15 for it. Maybe. It's got nice illustrations. Block cuts. This is probably my book of the year, or not of the year, of the day. No Ways Home, a novel by Meredith. But I do want to look this up because obviously it's a DIY book. I just couldn't figure out where Meredith was from. Hopefully she's from to Karen. Hopefully that's not a Karen. Hopefully she's from Michigan. That'd be great. Where was this part I saw that convinced me I had to get this book? Because it's kind of like a spiritual journey. And she talks about God and all that. And then she's like, where's this part at? It was right at the beginning. It was inevitable. He would become one of them, an outcast. Grandma described like something similar to roaches, low life pests, no good to themselves and nobody else. She always said that his own mama was one of them. Nothing more than a lowlife in the streets. So hopefully this is from Detroit. No Way Home. Oh, it's No Ways Home. You got to talk the ghetto language or No Ways Home by Meredith. I like how her name is just one name. She ain't messing with that last name bullshit. I didn't get no Spider-Man movie. I did get 6 VHS tapes today. Spider-Man No Way Home. You're right. There is a Spider-Man No Way Home. Search instead for No Way Is Home. Book by Meredith. In this novel of family struggle and redemption, a mother struggles to save her 3 children from the devastating consequences of poverty and the dysfunction of a broken home by forcing them to fend for themselves. Wonder where this is based out of. I guess I'm not going to find out. Why does Meredith not own a home? I don't know. So yeah, probably read this book at some point on this channel, if you can call it channel. There it is, City of Detroit. Hell yeah. Alright, so this makes it better. It's a Detroit book. Hell yeah. What's this say? Best-selling author Meredith? Something tells me she's not selling shit. But I don't care if she is. Justine, a novel by Lawrence Durrell. Justine is the spirit of Alexandria, sensual and skeptical, self-torturing and passionate. Cyril Connolly, a beautiful and unique work, sensuous and wise in its scrutiny of love. Love. After 10 years of silence as a writer of fiction, Lawrence Durrell has come forward with his long-awaited novel, Justine, a story that is just as controversial and individual as hoped for. Already greeted by a storm of praise in London, The Observer writes, worth waiting for. It is a masterly piece of work. One has no hesitation in acclaiming this as a great novel, a successful attempt by a most gifted artist to express the tragic sense of life with courage. Justine is poetry in the form of prose, a perceptive, sensuous evocation of a city and its peoples. Minus the S. I plan to sell this, but I may read it as well. I just have too many damn books. Too many books. The Darkest Part of the Forest by Black, which it is a advanced reading copy, so I bought it just because it's going to be worth more, because it's a kind of a limited edition in a way. If it would have been signed, it'd be worth a lot, but it does have a letter. So hopefully I can get 10 or 15 bucks for this book. Dear bookseller, when I was in college, I went on a road trip and came across the world's tallest thermometer. Exciting stuff indeed. Well, imagine if a town's tourist attraction was instead a glass coffin in the woods, and in the coffin slept the beautiful fairy prince. All right. I've read enough now. I don't understand this bullshit, this fantasy. And I watched some video of a girl who is a booktuber, and she wrote that women are into fantasy because it unites them in a single cause. And I'm just like, there's no cause in these fucking books. Let's read chapter 1, or part of it. Down a path worn into the woods, past a stream and a hollowed-out log full of pill bugs and termites, was a glass coffin. It rested right on the ground, and in it slept a boy with horns on his head and ears as pointed as knives. As far as Hazel Evans knew, from what her parents said to her, and from what their parents said to them, He'd always been there, and no matter what anyone did, he never, ever woke up. He didn't wake up during the long summers when Hazel and her brother Ben, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's shit. This book, I don't know. I mean, how many copies do I have now? Let's see. This is copy number what? 7? I still haven't read a word of this book, but I hear it's good. I did read. What did I read? The Little Friend? Yeah, I read The Little Friend. But I have not read The Goldfinch. Donna Tartt, The Goldfinch. For Mother. For Claude. 1. The absurd does not liberate, it binds. Albert Camus. Boy with a skull. While I was still in Amsterdam, I dreamed about my mother for the first time in years. I'd been shut up in my hotel for more than a week, afraid to telephone anybody or go out, and my heart scrambled and floundered, and even the most innocent noises, elevator bell, rattle of the minibar cart, even church clocks tolling the hour, Die Westertoren, Kritschberg, a dark edge to the clangor, an in-wrought fairy tale sense of doom. By day I sat on the foot of the bed, straining to puzzle out the Dutch language news on television, which was hopeless, since I knew not a word of Dutch, and when I gave up, I sat by the window, staring out at the canal, with my camel hair's coat thrown over my clothes, for I'd left New York in a hurry, and the things I brought weren't warm enough, even indoors. I give this woman credit. She's a pretty good writer, but most of her stories are... Most of what I've read of her stuff was good writing, but shitty topics. I mean, almost childish topics. So I don't know. I've heard this book's really racist. And when I was at the thrift store looking at books, I almost showed this to some black girl who was there. But then I remembered a bunch of people claimed that this book is racist. So I figured I probably shouldn't have done it. Now this book, this is the best book of the day. Ask Your Husband. A Catholic Guide for Femininity. And I do plan to sell this book because it's worth some money. But this is fucking brilliant. Listen to what your husband says. Ask Your Husband. A Guide to Catholic Femininity. There is perhaps no more controversial statement today than the husband is the boss of his wife. In Ask Your Husband, Stephanie C. Gordon explains how this proposition proves to be required by Scripture and by 2 millennia of Catholic teaching. Ask Your Husband instructs Catholic wives how properly to serve their husbands in Christian marriage by emulating Our Lady. Is that Mary? And by embracing the household patriarchy, just as she did. Ask Your Husband is a countercultural manifesto of the domicile. Against the fetid rot of feminism, Christian wives should employ this book in their labors to rehabilitate the wayward, popular Christian view of their sexual roles, their souls, their marriages, and their mothering. Maybe I will read this on this channel just to infuriate people. I'm not Catholic or religious at all, but this might be a good, funny read. The basics. Do whatever he tells you. Can you imagine how many people this infuriate? The most profound wisdom spoken by any woman in any time was the Virgin Mary's response at the Cana wedding feast. Do whatever he tells you. Our Lady, of course, spoke in deference to her most holy Son. Such deference constitutes the precise topic of this book in the arena of the Christian household. So yeah, as a strong woman, I applaud Stephanie's foray into an exploration of God's design for women in the midst of a hostile culture that hates everything about His will and His ways for marriage. Every woman who reads this will find a better way to live and will know the great graces God has destined for those women who dare to live out the authentic design of God in their marriage. Maybe I will read this before I ship it. Can you imagine someone just coming into a live reading of this and just being infuriated? I gotta read that. We'll add it to my list, bro. Freshwater Fury by Frank Barkus. This is some kind of Great Lakes. Obviously, I'm in Detroit area, so up and down the Great Lakes, whenever captains and seamen meet, one of the chief topics of conversation is still the Great Storm, the worst disaster in Great Lakes history. By men of the lakes, November 9th, 1913 will always be remembered as Black Sunday, for it brought death to hundreds of their companions and destruction to scores of ships of the lake's fleet. Each man who survived the storm has a fascinating story to tell. Even though it's old stock, still tastes pretty refreshing. Freshwater Fury is the first comprehensive history of the Great Storm. Author Frank Barkus, who has met and talked with many survivors during trips on lakes, freighters over the past 20 years, presents here their vivid eyewitness accounts. The many drawings, maps, and diagrams executed by the author add pictorial interest to the story of this dramatic struggle between men and elements. Which lake was it on? Superior? Or was it on all the lakes? I don't know. Maybe it's signed. It'd be worth some more money. Got numerous books on the Great Lakes. And to be honest with you, I don't think I've gone to one of the Great Lakes in maybe 15 years, maybe 20. Just don't care about the lakes. Yeah, no, that's right. I did go see a lighthouse with my kid about 6 or 7 years ago. Not my kid, my child. Kids are goats, aren't they? Smashing through with the Durston. Yeah, pretty cool little book. Hardcover. Not in bad shape. Manuel Puig and the Spider Woman. His life and fictions. I don't think I've ever heard of Manuel Puig. I did see a book of his somewhere. And I didn't get it. And I kind of regret it because I looked this book up and other books by him, and apparently there was some money. So the next time I see a Manuel Puig book, I shall get it. It was $2.99 at the thrift store, but for some reason the lady just totally ignored the sticker, which seems to be a theme at the Salvation Army where I go to. They don't like to charge me the hardcover price, probably because I buy so many books. As you could see, this is only book room number 1, or book room number 2. You can see book room number 1 in there. Since I have so many books, maybe they have, I don't know what it is. Let's see what it says. Manuel Puig, 1932 to 1990, Argentinian author of Kiss of the Spider Woman and pioneer of high camp, stands alone in the pantheon of contemporary Latin American literature, strongly influenced by Hollywood films of the 30s and 40s. His many-layered novels and plays integrate serious fiction and popular culture, mixing political and sexual themes with B-movie scenarios. When his first 2 novels were published in the late 60s, they delighted the public but were dismissed as frivolous by the leftist intellectuals of the boom. His 3rd novel was banned by the Peronist government for irreverence. His influence was already felt, though, even by writers who had dismissed him, and by the time the film version of The Kiss of the Spider Woman became a worldwide hit, he was a renowned literary figure. Puig's way of life was as unconventional as his fiction. He spoke of himself in the female form in Spanish, renamed his friends after his favorite movie stars, referred to his young male devotees as daughters, and as a perennial expatriate, lived often with his mother everywhere from Rome to Rio de Janeiro. Suzanne Jill Levine, his principal English translator, draws upon years of friendship as well as copious research and interviews in her remarkable book, the first biography of this inimitable writer. How salutary it is to have the dailies with the rushes, as it were. The quotidian meets the magical in Suzanne Jill Levine's scrupulous and affectionate account, and we are all the wiser for it, sadder and wiser. All right. Then we have unriddling all sorts of riddles to puzzle your guessery, collected from American folklore by Alvin Schwartz, which I have a bunch of Schwartz's books. I might even have them in this room. Obviously, he's the one that wrote the scary tales. What are they called? More scary stories that scare the shit out of you before you go to bed. What are they called? More scary stories or scary stories to tell after dark. Anyway, he was a folklorist and he put out he put out a bunch of books. And I have, as I said, quite a few of them. I just don't know where they're at. They're probably in my folklore section. Crossing the river. This kind of riddle goes back more than 1,000 years. In those days, monks in isolated monasteries in Europe tried it on one another. The riddle vary from place to place. A family must cross a river, or some missionaries and cannibals must do so. Or 'tis a farmer on his way home from some new animals. Usually the boat they have is far too small to carry all of them at the same time. There also may be other dangers, but the problem is always the same. How can they safely reach the other shore? No more than 100 pounds, a man, his wife, blah, blah, blah. Let's say goth. No, what does goatee really spell? The Hunt for the Tsar. Guy Richards. The full story of an amazing hunt begun in 1918 to unravel the true fate of the family of Nicholas and Alexandra. And as you can see, it has a Hudson's Bookstore tag on it, which is great to me since I have a huge collection of Hudson's books. They used to have a lending library and they had a huge bookstore. So this is, oh, look at that. Woot to damage to it. That's alright. I only paid $1 for it. It's okay. It's okay, buddy. Year was this written? 70s? 1963. 1970 by Guy Richards. The Hunt for the Tsar. Hi, buddy. How are you hiding in there, Bubba? The alleged Grand Duchess Anastasia Eugenia Smith, Illinois, 1963. Did they ever find him? I wonder. It's kind of like a Monty Python. It's kind of like a Monty Python cover with this television in the middle of his fucking forehead. I wonder if this book's worth anything. I doubt it. Probably worth about $8. eBay. Hunt Tsar Guy Richards. Hunt Tsar Guy Richards. Come on. Quit your lagging. Get moving. Wonder what happened to Pop Pop. He gone. He gone. fucking glass. A pure genius. Well, it's taking fucking 3 minutes to load this. The Hunt for the Czar. Sort by the lowest price fest. Come on. $1. But that's a paperback. It's minimally worth about 7 or 8, but those are all the paperback version. Alright. I got a deal for $1. What else? Got some VHS as well. The Devil's Advocate, bruv. Obviously, great ass. And then there's Moonstruck, which Nicolas Cage was really good. Bought this to possibly resell since it's a sealed VHS. Shakespeare in London. The Life and Times of the Real William Shakespeare. I guess I probably should have checked and seen if they were all in there. Moonstruck? Yes. Devil's Advocate, you in there? Great ass. Dead Again. How many times can you die for love? I don't remember this movie, so that's why I got it. Kenneth Branagh and wife Emma Thompson give dazzling dual role performances in this supernatural tinged romantic murder mystery. Probably a bad movie, but oh well. And finally, What is Eating Gilbert Grape? I remember watching it, but I don't remember it, so maybe I'll watch it again at some point. Hey, look, is that Blockbuster? No, it's not Blockbuster, I don't think. But there you go. Books and VHS, the only thing I'll basically buy anymore.